Okay, anyway. Okay, my thoughts on this situation between Wilder, Joshua Povetkin. First of all, I'll make it perfectly clear now. This is my own personal views. This is not there's no research. Nobody has influenced me in this. And it's only what I've read so far. So I'm only going off what I've read, but I will find out further information after this, obviously, when I talk to Stavern, because news live on air. Okay, so here's the thoughts about a few things. First and foremost, let's take you back a bit. Now, I'm trying to find out, or we're trying to find out, which side is lying and which side is telling the truth. Okay, contracts being signed, sent, all the rest of it. Let's take you back a bit. For me, I'm going to spin myself back a bit. Now, what I've been informed, what I've been told, what I've read is that the WBA have ordered for Joshua to face Povetkin, and Finkel saying he's going to send the contract to Hearn to Matchroom by Friday. So that's why I understand. But that's too late because the WBA are insisting that Joshua face Povetkin. Hold on. Let's spin this back a bit in time. Let's go back to the time when Joshua was going to face Klitschko. Okay. And it was for a unification bout. And we knew after the Klitschko bout, there was talk and there was whisper around, if I'm correct, there was talk of Joshua facing Parker, if I'm correct. Joshua fought Tacken first, didn't he? But we knew that there was a Parker fight around. Parker then defended his title against Hughie Fury, but there was this talk all around the town that Joshua and Parker were going to fight for a unification bout, correct? So Parker and Joshua meet for unification bout, but we knew about it. We knew about Parker versus Joshua for a while. We knew that fight was going to happen. Should Parker get past Hughie Fury? We knew that, and many people thought that, were under the impression that the only reason why Parker won the fight was because it was almost a done deal that Hearn had set up a situation between Parker and himself, his team, Parker's team, Duco events and Matchroom events, and they were meeting even at the time when Parker was actually meant to be fighting Joshua. Parker was meant to be fighting Hughie Fury. He was still meeting with Hearn. Well, that's what the talk of the town was. Parker denied it, but I guess he would. We don't know what his team were doing behind Parker's back. I don't know. Can't speculate. But anyway, so Joshua beats Parker. Okay, Joshua beats Parker. But even when Joshua beat Parker, let's spin that back even further back. You remember when Joshua was asked a question about Deontay Wilder before the Parker fight? I think he said that I see the Deontay Wilder fight in 2019. He kept talking about 2019, 2019, 2019. And we kind of went, okay, fair enough, he's going to face him. And kind of people were like, okay, he's going to face him in 2019. It was kind of like, so it was kind of, people kind of calmed down about it. They said, all right, fine. 2019, Wilder went and defended against Ortiz. And he knocked Ortiz out, which a lot of people, I don't think, expected Wilder to do that. But he beat Ortiz. That wasn't expected. That was meant to be the banana skin. The same loose Ortiz that when there was mandatory for Joshua to face between Povetkin and Ortiz, Joshua went on and had the unification bout against Parker, if I'm correct. But anyway, my point is this. We kind of known that Joshua was going to face Parker. We kind of heard the stories about the Povetkin fight. We know that Povetkin's people came and met Hearn. Okay, now I'm just conscious of time. Now, for me, there's a lot of, you kind of know what's going to happen before it happens. You know, Povetkin's been in the UK. He's fought against David Price already. I don't think Povetkin just came and fought Price in the UK for the sake of it. I'm under the impression that the agreement was, if I come to the UK and I knock David Price out and people get to see who I am and can see what I can do, then hey, it's obvious that Joshua versus Povetkin will be next on the table. But then there was that conversation about the 50 million. And we all know what happened with that. Yeah, for 50 million, I would do X, Y, and Z. That comment got out. Wilder's up the ante and produced the 50 million. Now, here's the thing. I don't believe that Wilder is ducking Anthony Joshua. And I say this because he fought Luis Ortiz at a time that most people considered Luis Ortiz. Forget the age for a second. Forget the age. Most people were like, oh, Wilder must fight Ortiz. Wilder must fight Ortiz. So Wilder fights Ortiz. He knocks Ortiz out. It's not the result a lot of people wanted, but he got that result. It's not a result a lot of people wanted. People expected Ortiz to beat Wilder. And because he didn't beat Wilder, they were up in arms about it. The people up in arms at it. Most people accept, there are some people accept the fact that Wilder beats Ortiz and beats him well. Joshua didn't want to fight Ortiz. It was there. Didn't want to fight him. He was all talk about 2019 Wilder. Wilder goes ahead and beats Ortiz. So he can come back to the table and says, look, I still want to fight you. Now, Wilder's beaten the best guy, considered the most dangerous guy in the division, which was Luis Ortiz. Highly skilled, big punching, unbeaten Cuban. Okay? Now, going into the fight against Ortiz, we all know what I felt. He wasn't ready to fight Wilder. Daniel Martez, after being at a year of boxing, it's not good enough. You need better warm-up or better opposition to prepare you to fight Wilder. At least somebody similar height to try and prepare you for that, what you're going to face with Wilder. I don't think you got the preparation right. Now, in another interview, I believe, with Pep Talk, shout out to Pep Talk, Anthony Joshua says that he's going to get into training camp to prepare for Deontay Wilder. Now, I remember him saying that specifically. He also mentioned the 50 million thing as well. Now, Eddie Hearn's come back and said at one point in his time, he said something about training camps and training camps not being, Joshua needs more time to train. Okay, fair enough. But Joshua said he'd been training for X amount of time to prepare for Wilder because Wilder was the next fight. So I'm not sure who's saying what. Joshua says 2019, but I don't know if he's been told to say that or he's actually saying it himself. The other thing I've got a question about is the WBA have jumped in and said they're going to fight Povetkin. Okay, fine. Any other time, I'd say, okay, fine, fair enough. But to get in the way, for the WBA to stand in the way of a significantly bigger fight, brings more money to the table, Joshua being the WBA super champion, we know Charles, the regular champion. Which fight makes more money? Joshua versus Povetkin, a mandatory, or Joshua versus Wilder for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world? Everybody wins with that. There's more money, much more money that comes to the table. So why can't Povetkin simply take step aside money, get paid a nice bit of money, pay Povetkin off, step aside money, and let these two guys fight? Why can't he step aside money and let these two guys fight? And Povetkin is guaranteed the winner of Wilder versus Joshua. Povetkin fights. Seems fair enough to me. Seems fair enough to me. And the guy who gets beat between Wilder and Joshua, then they can go away, lick their wounds, get themselves prepared, and then have a rematch after Povetkin fights whoever the winner of that fight is. I mean, I'm sure people would prefer to see Joshua versus Wilder faster than Joshua versus Povetkin. That way, we don't get him getting stripped by the WBA. That way, all the belts that matter are all together. You've got a unified champion, an undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Job done. Job done. So those are my thoughts on that. If they want to make it happen, they will make it happen as far as I'm concerned. If they want to make it happen, they will make it happen. Whether they will make it happen or not, I don't know. It says, Brother Ingram, that's because lots of way can win, goes along and he beats Anthony Joshua now. And it's not a formality for Joshua to beat Povetkin, who I think is a better fighter than Takam, who hits harder than Takam. You know, I don't know, but how often does super champ defenders? Only Povetkin purse bids would make her look to the Wilder fight. My sources is World Boxing News. Just read it. Maybe Povetkin doesn't want to fight Wilder if he wins. Wilder versus Povetkin, undisputed 2009. Imagine that. Yeah, but I don't think anyone will value Povetkin by then. 2019, they'll be 40 years old, and people say that, well, if he knocks out Povetkin, well, he was an old man. So, you know, I don't know. Boxing fans, I'm not so sure. But I can't talk that much longer on this. We can always come back and talk about it later. I'm very careful what I say here, but I'm very careful what I read in certain boxing in boxing publications. Only because, and I say that with all due respect, I know a lot of boxing publications do a lot of hard work. Only because I've literally been on the phone with fighters, literally on the phone, not just one. I've been on the phone with about 8 different fighters, and I've said, hey, I'm just reading this on Boxing News, or I've just read this somewhere else, and they go, that's news to me. I never knew anything about that. I never knew anything about this. I never knew anything about that. Remember, you know, I will say this much. When I said boxing news, I don't mean boxing news, just boxing news in general, not boxing news, the actual publication, right, which I do like. Just boxing news in general. I've read boxing news over the internet. Now, there are publications out there that are fueled by promoters. You got to remember, certain promoters have a lot of money, and certain promoters can manipulate information. I've seen one promoter in particular. I'm not mentioning this promoter is. I've seen this promoter manipulate a major. I've seen it being manipulated. That's all I'm saying. I've seen stories being manipulated. So that's all I can say to you about that. I agree, Trap House. Eubank Senior did the same when GGG fight was talked about. That had no intention of taking the fight, free publicity. If Povetkin beats AJ, then he does not have to fight Wilder and can stay champ for longer, potentially. AJ will beat Povetkin. Price nearly sparked him. That's Price. Price didn't nearly spark him. Let's put things into perspective. That punch that Price landed had as much severe effect as when Bruno rocked Tyson in that first fight. It was a big punch with a guy who's 6'7" and he's known to be a big puncher. But that was it. He rocked Povetkin. Povetkin went back to the ropes, and that was it. He didn't go down. He got hit by a punch, and the momentum of the punch sent him back. And everyone's excited about that. Let's put things in very much perspective. When Klitschko hit Povetkin, down he went. Okay, that's to me, that's hurt. He may have been slightly stunned by the punch, but we're blowing things very out of proportion. Very out of proportion about what Price did. Because you talk about that punch, do you talk about the combination that knocked Price out afterwards? That's what I'd be concerned about. Not the combination that Price threw and Povetkin was able to, come back and throw that combination and knock Price out. That's what I'd be more concerned about. So we just have to think about it. Okay, look, I've got to get out of here. I'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes with Bermain Stavern, where we can talk all things boxing and hear what he's doing, if he's doing anything. So join me back here. AJ hits harder than Price, Ingram. Right. And your evidence to that is, have you been hit by Price and Joshua? No, Joshua and Price. Have you been hit by those guys? I don't know, because I know a guy who's been hit by quite a few of the guys, and they would say that Joshua and Fury hit exactly the same. If not, Fury hits a little harder than Joshua. You'd probably find that hard to believe. And that's a reliable source. That's somebody who actually has been in ring sparring both Joshua and Tyson Fury. And says Tyson hits harder than Joshua. And it's not how big a guy and how heavy a guy throws a punch. It's the punch that you don't see is the one that lands the knockout shot. Always remember that. Just remember that. I wouldn't really hit. No, I wouldn't get hit by either of them either. Right, I'm out of here. I'll see you in a minute. Don't forget, I'll be back in a few moments. I'll be back in a few moments with the main Stavern. See you soon.